Hi again. I thought I'd make an update about the plated mail project I was doing. Um, word freeze, whatever. So I've finished putting quite a bit of plates in place, and it's had quite a few interesting results, which I wanted to talk about. Uh, changing, replacing these rings with the plates has two major effects. The first of which it makes the whole thing stiffer, and the second of which is that it spreads it out. They have the rings and the plates technically have the same area, but only in the sense that when the mail is at max width. So when you replace a set of rings, 7 rings, or in the case of these small ones, 4 rings, with a plate, the rings could normally bunch up and save space by contracting into each other. The plates can't do that. So you have to do unexpected fixes in other places of this vest when you do that. So originally these shoulders, the shoulder openings were pretty much perfect fitted. I had no problems with it. But when I started adding a third row of a third column, shall we say, of plates here at the shoulders, it made the openings too big. So it started to like stick out like this. So I had to remove a few rings. I wonder if you can see it here somewhere. I removed a set of rings, I think around here. See, it looks a little weird. And because of that, it looks a little bit weird, but fits a lot better again. So it's not too big. Rather, it's sort of accommodating the shape of my body. So you have to do unexpected fixes because of this widthening effect. Another thing that happened was that originally I only had the 2 rows here because I wanted to have enough arm mobility. And even then there was a little bit of tightness because they would stack up against each other like this, and then I couldn't like properly move like this. It was more noticeable when I had my jacket on, the Atkinson type, on top of this. But I fixed that by really cutting away parts of these rings and then curving them like so, the plates, so they're more accommodating the curvature of my chest. So that helped. And after that, I didn't have any problems, so I figured I would add a third row of plates here to add a little bit more stiffness and protection. And that's really when I noticed the problem here. But again, I had this problem where it was taking away too much mobility, too much the bend of the rings. So what I did was I really cut away more of the edges here, and then I bent these two. These are really like bent like this, like so. So they really curve, and that hasn't been a problem. It's a little bit stiffer now compared to when I only had 2 rows, but the protection is much better, so I'm pretty satisfied with that. Another thing that's interesting development is that the plates, because they have 2 holes, you can use them as lacing. So that's made it a lot easier to put this thing on and wear it. And when I have it like this at the front, I have 2 layers doubling up, so I have double protection, complete center line. So that's pretty good. And if I don't just quickly put on one lacing like here, I put one at the top here and then one at the bottom here, so it's holding at 2 points. That's pretty good. And then that allows me to maintain pretty good movement like this, and it's not a problem. It's very comfortable. Some of the other problems I had, because I removed rings at the top of the shoulder around here, so I can't continue putting more plates there because I need a uniform. Let's see if I can get a good angle. I need a good uniform weave to put these plates into place with. If there's an uneven weave, let's say there's 3 rings at the top and there's like 4 at the bottom or 2 at the bottom, I can't really put a plate there. It becomes a mess. It becomes obviously skewed and doesn't look right. So you have to be really careful how you remove rings to accommodate for your form. So that's a bit of a headache, bit of a dementia bringer. So that's a bit of annoyance. More a problem here really back where I wanted to add a line of single plates, or they're 4-hole plates, so they're halves, but they're really 2/3 down along the spine to protect it. But here, what I've been tightening at the back, you can see a little bit. I want to tighten it so that it wouldn't stick out here like so. the weave is so random that the plates just become practically impossible to put in place. That's a bit of an annoyance, but whatever. Can't be helped. This is, of course, mostly because I'm using a single size ring. I'm just using, I don't know the diameter, but I bought these rings from boxes. If I had smaller rings, I could adjust the weave here and there. So using smaller rings around the neck to make it really fine, around the neck here, so I could really fine tune it. And then if I wanted to correct for an error in weave somewhere around here, I could use smaller rings and then bigger rings to attach the plates to. So that would allow me to adjust it on the fly. So now when I have just like one size ring and one size plate, which I can adjust to 2/3 or 3/3 rows. For example, when I look at these plates here and the plates on the back, they don't line up. So I can't put them into a single uniform shape. So I can't connect these with the back. It just doesn't work. Another problem is I'm starting to run out of plates, so I would need to buy more of these. But in running out of plates, I have a whole heap of rings again. So I could, in theory, add quite a bit of nail back into this test. So I have a whole heap of these rings. I could just continue making this downwards, say, perhaps, to add a little more of this. But right now, I think I managed to sew this on pretty nicely, so I don't want to open it. And it's because there's a slight difference in tightness between the rings like this and here. These are usually a little bit different, but now they're lining up pretty nicely, so I really don't want to ruin this. So I think I'm just moving this. Overall, I think it looks pretty nice, especially when you look at it from a little bit far away. Up close, it looks like, it looks whatever. But far away, when there's a little bit of light coming out of it, looks really nice. And has good mobility, and I suspect it has pretty good defensive value. So I'm going to hit myself a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good. Of course, I feel a bit of impact, but it's spread out a fair bit. Especially blows that aren't coming exactly along a single plate, but rather many plates. So that doesn't really feel too bad. That was, of course, just one-handed blows, but whatever. Overall, I would call this project a success. And I think I'm going to leave it be. I'm not going to do any more. I say that, but of course, I'm probably going to walk back on that because I've been tinkering with this thing for over a month now, well over a month. And it's been a lot of fun working on this. At the same time, I feel like I'm going constantly crazy because I can do different things. I can do more. I can always do more with this thing. So maybe it's time to just leave it be. Yeah, that's about all. Bye.